Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Herders. I'm Nick.
I'm Rich.
And today we're going to tell you what we've been up to in the past week.
Yeah.
So, why don't you go first?
Sure. So I got two things. I got a game and I got a movie.
Ooh.
What do you want first?
Let's game it up.
Alright. So I started playing Life is Strange. The episodic, third person's very story driven. So I played the first episode of that. It's 5 episodes. So far, I am very into it. The idea of it, essentially, if you don't know what Life is Strange is, it's Square Enix who, I believe published it. I'm not sure if they're also developed it or what the case is. I should have probably figured that out. But you're a teenage girl, senior in high school, who is in like this arts kind of private art school as in her last year. No, she's starting off. She's moved back to her old town to start off at this private school.
Okay.
So you're a teenage girl, and it's kind of about, she discovers she can control time.
Ooh.
So she's sitting in her class, and she does all this stuff, and she sees
like
this...
Clock stoppers?
Yes, sure. But she sees this event happen. I don't want to spoil anything, but she, like, freaks out, and all of a sudden she's back in her classroom, like, 20 minutes beforehand and realize she can control the time. And affect things. So everything that's in it's very kind of choice-based, and certain things that you do will affect events and stuff that happen later on. Similar to like Until Dawn was a big one that did that, was sort of a choose your own adventures, and does a similar thing where if you do something that's going to affect what's going to happen later, it's something will come and say this will have consequences later on, whatever they may be. And it's really interesting because it doesn't ever tell you, there's no right or wrong choice. Like if you do one thing, like you see this guy at school arguing with this girl, and you can either choose to photograph it and get, I got a picture of this, or intervene. And so like the first thing I did was like, I'm going to take a picture of this. Maybe, I don't see what happens. And you take a picture of it and the thing kind of ends and she's like, oh wow, thanks for helping, and like storms off. And her inner monologue is going, and it's like, oh man, maybe I should have helped her, and it's giving you little icons up there, and it's like you can rewind if you want, and you rewind. There's little spots on on the meter of where key events happen. So if you want to rewind to this key event or this key event, you can go back pretty far. So
can you just go back to the event, or you can just rewind like even 10 seconds if you wanted to?
No, it's usually at the event.
0 point. Okay.
There's been a couple things where it's been like, I'm going to rewind just a few seconds, but it doesn't do enough good to rewind at that point.
Gotcha.
It really does you better to rewind to the event. But then, so I rewound time. I was like, maybe I should have intervened. So I rewound time, and I intervened, and then the game plays out, and she's like, oh man, I hope that doesn't come back, like something along the lines of, I hope that doesn't come back to bite, maybe I should have just stayed out of the way and stuff. So it doesn't ever actually tell you. You're constantly sort of questioning yourself.
Second guess yourself.
Yeah, just like you would if you were in these situations going, maybe I shouldn't have done that. What if this played out differently? And I'm already seeing certain things, come of the different choices that I've made. Took me about a little over 2 hours roughly going through. You can go through and see all the stuff that's on the walls. Here's this poster, look at this poster, read this thing. And if you want to take the time and do that, you can learn a lot about kind of the school and what's happening, and like there's kind of a bigger plot afoot that you're sort of discovering. And
sounds really cool.
How
do people play this?
What do you? It's on. I know it's on console, PlayStation, Xbox. I believe it's on PC as well. I'm playing it on PS4 right now. It just came out physically. There was a digital release for a while. The physical edition just came out last week. So far, I'm really into it, and I'm going to try to finish it up this week so we can have a discussion about it.
Sounds very interesting. If I didn't have 1,000 games to play.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I'll probably get that soon. That sounds right up my alley.
A lot of different puzzles and stuff in it, and you kind of solve it by playing with time, and I feel there's this thing that I need to appear. I did this and it fell, and there's something I can't get to. And then you rewind time to sort of adjust the environment to set forth the rest of the emotions, and then you know what happened. Then you can solve the puzzle that way.
That's cool.
So it's interesting.
That sounds really neat. So that's Life is Strange.
That's Life is Strange.
All sorts of ways.
Yeah, definitely worth your time. And I saw Anomalisa
Ah, yes.
this weekend. Wow, it is really fucking good. You haven't seen this yet, right?
No.
Okay. So if you don't know Anomalisa, it's Charlie Kaufman, writer of Being John Malkovich, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Adaptation.
Yeah, he's done some stuff. He's got a good track record. So he co-directed and co-wrote, and then the film was produced over at Starburns Industries. Dina Stamatopoulos.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. So Dina Stamatopoulos is a producer on it. Dan Harmon's an executive producer on it. Because they did like the animation for the Community Christmas special. They've done a lot of stuff for animation. I think they're also producing the new Duplass Brothers Animals show.
Oh, they're on HBO.
Yeah. So essentially, it's a very slice of life movie about this guy coming into town on business and just how unhappy he is. It's really depressing. But the animation in it is so well done, and I love that it's, I don't want to. It's definitely more mature, and I don't want to say, oh well, it's mature because Inside Out definitely is a mature film, but like a legitimate, like, just very human story, drama kind of play out and see kind of how it uses stop motion to sort of how it uses it and how it also like you use stop motion and you want to see it used to its fullest potential and things moving and all this stuff happening, but you really kind of have these subtle moments of in their eyes and their facial expressions and this and that and kind of how it plays out.
Was it necessary though? Could it have been live action?
No. Really? Yes, I'm gonna say no on that one. You could have done it live action, but I think it works a lot better stop motion. I didn't know a whole lot going into this movie, kind of the details of it, so I don't want to give away too much because I don't know what really hadn't been talked about with it.
Right. And I'm a person who it's hard to avoid trailers, this, that, and the other. I have not seen anything for this movie. The only thing that I've seen is the maybe 10 seconds of it that they showed at the Golden Globes.
Okay.
When it was up for Best. I heard that it was Kaufman, and that's all that I needed to know. That eventually I'll watch it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm obviously a huge fan of animation.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, it sounds of interest, and I didn't know that about Starburns. That's awesome. It's really cool. That's good. It's great.
It's
pretty limited, even though it's up for Best Animated.
Yeah, if you're in the Orlando area, it's playing Enzine right now. You can check it out there. I'm not sure if it's on demand or how that's going to work.
I don't know.
But it's
people should seek it out.
Yes, it's really good.
Nice. That's really cool. So
that's me. What have you been up to?
All right. So I'm going to quickly update on 2 TV shows.
Okay.
And then I have something else.
All right.
So last week I said this week I would report back on how the new DC television show on CW
yes.
DC's Legends of Tomorrow, and I'm going to do that because I watched part 1 of the 2-part premiere.
Okay.
Part 2 is airing just a couple days. You guys will have already seen it. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. So basically, if you don't know what the show is, it's basically every side character almost that has appeared in Arrow and Flash in their own show. And the setup...
Is it without Arrow and Flash?
Right, yeah. Well,
okay.
It's not even a spoiler, but like the very first scene of the first episode of this, Oliver Queen Arrow shows up.
Okay.
It's sort of a passing the torch. Basically, the setup is it opens up sort of like the opening of Terminator, the original James Cameron movie. It's way in the future. There's a future war. There's lasers and pew pew. And there's like a guy who I've never really I've watched some Doctor Who. He's basically Doctor Who.
Okay.
And he's talking to like the time console, and they're like, we have to stop this guy. He's worse than Hitler and Genghis Khan and everyone else, and he's lived all through time, and we have to stop him. We have to go back. And then you go back to present time in the CW DC universe, and he shows up and he's recruiting a team to stop this guy, and it's a team that includes, you know, the Atom and now White Canary and just all these people that were in the shows together. And he basically tells them, like, you know, you don't know each other yet, but in my time, you guys are legends, and you can do something great, but you need to come together and you need to help me stop this guy, otherwise the world is going to end. Blah, blah, blah. And so
sounds interesting.
They decide to go together, and then very early on, and it's the first episode, it's not even the entire of the pilot. What I thought was interesting was, because, you know, I'm a fan of comics, and none of these people are... These are like C and D characters, and the idea of putting them all on a show was interesting. But when he's like, "You guys become legends," and it's called Legends of Tomorrow, I was kind of like, "All right, don't try and kid us." And like about halfway through the premiere, it turns out they find out that this guy was not given permission to go back. He's doing it because the bad guy hurt his family, and so this is personal, and he's recruiting them because if something bad happens to them, they are inconsequential. They can die. They are not actually legends. And they decide, but we can make our own path. We can do this. And so the interesting thing is they are like a ragtag group. They mean nothing. They mean nothing 1,000 years after they're already gone. And they're deciding to come together even though they don't fit to do this. And it's a really interesting, and it was a lot of fun.
Okay.
It was, you know, and that's an interesting hook, but like the cool thing about it was the team really is fun. It was almost like watching like something like J.J. Abrams' Star Trek and like Guardians like mixed together in a TV form, and it looks like they spent a hell of a lot of money, and I don't know how that's going to keep up CW concerns, but I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
I recommend people check it out. We'll see how it goes from here. But the other thing I watched was the long-awaited, if not anticipated, return of the X-Files. So the X-Files have reopened for a 6-episode mini-series.
There's only 6?
Only 6.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to be very short because it was a 2-night premiere, so it's 2 of the 6 down. It only has 4 weeks left, basically. So it's been 13 years since the X-Files went off the air. 7 years ago, 6 years ago, there was the terrible sequel.
Yeah.
The movie that people forget. So it's been a while since we saw Fox Mulder and Dana Scully back together. I was a huge fan of the show growing up. Absolutely loved it. And so I've been excited for this reboot. And, you know, word started getting out the first episode was not great. Alan Sepinwall, a critic who I absolutely trust with anything TV related, his suggestion to people was, don't even watch the first episode. It's awful, blah, blah, blah. Just start with the second one, which is okay. And, you know, and I was like, oh, God. I was just thinking about that second movie.
Yeah.
And I actually thought the first episode was actually pretty good.
Okay.
Second episode, I actually, there were things that annoyed me about it. It just kind of like jumped back into the swing of things. It's a standalone episode. It doesn't deal with the mythology. They act like basically they never left. And it was kind of like, you only have 5 more episodes. Maybe let's make this mean more.
Yeah.
Not act like it's just another episode of the show. It was kind of bothersome to me. But overall, it's nice having it back. But I get this lingering feeling, and I'll talk about it maybe once all 6 have aired, that it's going to end, and we're going to kind of wonder, like, feel like, yeah, it was nice seeing them together, but what was the point?
Okay.
Where are we now? Because it's not like they're going to end it again. Yeah. They're not going to kill off these characters. They want to leave it open for more. That might not ever happen.
Yeah.
But it might not ever happen. That's the thing. And then where are you at?
Yeah.
So it's nice having them back. We'll see how it goes. All right, last thing. Watched a short film that debuted yesterday from when we're recording this.
Okay.
From Gareth Evans, the director of The Raid, just put out a short film. Did you hear about this?
No.
He released it on his YouTube channel. It's a 5-minute samurai sword fight that he choreographed with 2 of the guys from The Raid, and the guy who played Mad Dog, and not Iko, not the main guy, but one of the other guys. And it's basically the 2 of them fighting this girl. It doesn't have a title. It's untitled. and it's black and white, and it's just 2 versus 1 samurai fight with swords. It's 5 minutes, and Gareth Evans, he's again the director of The Raid 2. He basically said he kind of did this just because he hadn't been behind a camera in 2 years, and he really wanted to do something. And it's pretty badass.
Yeah.
It's pretty. The choreography is pretty awesome. There's not much of a story. It just opens in a woods. This woman's running away from 2 guys, and then they have a sword fight. But if you like the choreography from the Raid movies, it is well worth your time.
Cool.
So check that out. And there's not really much else to say about that, but it's really cool. So watch it. And that's what I've been up to.
Cool.
So, what have you guys been up to? Let us know.
Let us know.
Is there stuff that we should be watching and we're not? Would you like to hear it?
See
Maybe we do watch it and you want to hear us talk about it.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
You can tweet at both of us. You can tweet at me at Rich Belson.
Tweet at me at Stonks.
You can tweet at the channel at OABeer_official, and you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/overabeer. If you like these videos, please share them with your friends and subscribe to the channel. Our goal right now is 100 subscribers, and then we can go ahead and give you a custom YouTube URL. You do not need a YouTube account to subscribe. You can do it with a normal Google or Gmail account as well.
Yes.
But I think that's going to do it for today. So until then, we'll see you guys tomorrow.